All right, have you figured out your destiny, what you should be doing with your life, career, all that good stuff? I can't imagine anything more important for someone to figure out. So many people are just like lost sheep wandering around because they bought into the lie that you can't figure out what you should do, or you have to spend 10 or 20 years just, lost until you finally have that aha moment when you know what you should do with your life. So, luckily, I bumped into some mentors when I was 19 years old, and one of the first things they taught me is that you got to figure things out. When you have no certainty in your life, it's hard to make good decisions. You end up getting pushed from one extreme to the other. And I don't care if you're 19 years old watching this or if you're 50 years old. Most people get this wrong. Most people, if you look them in the eye and say, honestly, are you sure you spent your life doing the things you really were meant to do? Almost all people. I read a survey once, I forget where it was, about 85% of people would say, they don't know what they should be doing with their life. They're not satisfied on a day-to-day basis. So, I thought I would just record a little video back here in the garage. Got some books, Ferrari, Lamborghini, some fun cars that I collect in. But more important than all that, like I said, than any kind of material thing is really having that kind of knowledge. So here's a few little tips that I'll give you that my mentors taught me that I think are amazing. The number one I alluded to a little bit earlier, when you're trying to figure out what you should do, what job you should pursue, whether you should go to college, whether you should go back to school, whether you should switch careers if you already have one, whether you should start your own business, where you should live, if you should move or stay where you are. I think the first thing to know that will really make you feel good is to know that the knowledge isn't that hard to get. You're not going to have to spend 5 years, 10 years searching to get the answers. Obviously, at some level, the longer you look into these things, the more insight. But you can get the basic insight you need really in a very short period of time. There's been so many advances, in science, like medical science and so on, but people forget. There's also been advances in what they call psychometric testing. Those are the social sciences, where there's people who devoted their lives in science to saying, answer these questions, I can figure out your personality type, and I can give you a rough estimate of the general things you should be doing in your life. I use that word, kind of tongue-in-cheek, destiny, because it's not like you wake up and there's some, something over your crib as a baby and it's like, you are destined to be an entrepreneur. No, obviously not. What there is, though, is natural propensities, natural skill sets. So, these can be figured out, and they can be figured out by asking about 6 questions. I don't know if I have time in this video to give you all 6, but I'm actually going to do a talk, a live online talk. It's totally free. So many people, literally hundreds of thousands of people have emailed me with this specific question. So I decided to do a free online talk. There should be a link, I don't know, above or below here, and click it. It's absolutely free. I'm going to explain, 5 or 6 principles that you can use right away to really be sure that you're doing the right thing, to make the good decisions, to pick the right career, to know whether you should change, quit, start a new company, work for somebody else, go back to school, not go back to school. So yeah, click the link. And so what I was saying, there's not an exact destiny where we just have this word written over us at birth, but there is, a general kind of, I call it an industry specific. There's general things. There's things that I know I'll never be good at. Like, I tried construction. I know how to build a house. It's just not my thing, And for me to try to do it, I'd be miserable. But there are some general industries that I have, always was kind of naturally good at. So what you want to do, even if you feel like you weren't naturally super gifted, there's about 6 things you can follow. I'll show you on this live talk. You fill out these 6 questions and you find where they all intersect, and it pretty much gives you the answers. Now, some people take a little longer. Some people I've seen figure out whole life-changing, choices that they can make, good choices, in just a day or just after an hour of watching these things. So yeah, check out that free talk. Another tip that I've learned is that what you want to do is, once you get the general vicinity, you want to leave some room for innovation, because what will happen is, just take like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. He started Apple. His thing as general industry was like technology and design. But within that, he had all these innovations over the years. Steve Jobs did, you know, computer and then laptops and iPods and iPads and iPhones and now, you know, Apple Watch. So there's that's what I mean about you can go general and specific at the time. So the third thing that I'll say here, and then I'll let you click the link and you can register free to see the whole talk that I'm going to do online. The third thing is that when, well, there's actually a few things that I could talk about. Let me put it this way to you. I was listening to Peter Thiel. He's one of the billionaires. He's the co-founder of, let me lean on this car for a second. My arms are getting tired. He says, one of the problems in the world is that you have two choices almost always. You can choose status or you can choose substance. And he says what happens with a lot of people when they're figuring out what they should do with their life, you know, they listen to, let's say your mom says, oh, being a doctor, you know, that's such a great job. It's so prestigious. You'll always make money. And so people, in fact, my dentist, when I was like 15 years old, he wanted to be an artist, he told me, but his mom made him be a dentist because it was a higher status, but he didn't have that real feeling for it. You know, he didn't have, the substance wasn't there. So Peter Thiel, you know, he's the co-founder of PayPal and now a billionaire. He says, when you have those choices, when you have that fork in the road, really go after the substantive thing. And so as you're figuring out your general career and your business destiny, don't just go, okay, everybody. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be a doctor. A lot of people should be doctors. We need more good doctors. But don't be a doctor just because the status is there, because you won't have the highest level of curiosity that you need to really thrive in what you ever do. And so, you know, if there's one little tidbit I'll add before I end here, is that whatever you end up in career-wise, the likelihood of your success. So let's say you identify a destiny. You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to make the next mobile app. You want to start a hotel chain, a restaurant, a healthy, organic, you know, fast food place. I don't know why no one's started one of those yet. But so you have to identify first, not just a good idea, whether, and I'm going to give you in this talk, 6 things that'll tell you whether your skill set is really matched with that choice. So you have that conscious choice, I want to do this. Then you got to make sure it matches up with these 6 kind of destiny finders. And let's say it does, so then you get your general thing you're going to do. Then you ask yourself before you do it, am I just doing this? Am I just excited about this because it's high status? And Peter Thiel says, don't make that decision. You can become and live an amazing life in almost any field. Like, I don't believe you can't make money in art. I don't believe you can't make money as a musician. I don't believe you can't make money as an actor or starting a magazine or starting a restaurant. You know, if this is your destiny to do, you should do it, even if you make a little bit less money than somebody who just pursues status. Now, ideally, you can figure out something that has substance and status and material success, but not just material success, also has, you know, real happiness and satisfaction and fulfillment. So it's a complicated subject. And that's why I'm going to do this talk, because I'll really lay it out. I have a whiteboard. I'll write out these 6 things, and I'll do it step by step. I just was here in the garage, and I was reading some emails. I get thousands of these a day, and I was just thinking, I got to record a video on this and do a little talk here. So click the link. It'll show you the times in your local time. It's absolutely free. There's no gimmicks or anything. And just put in your email. Make sure you don't put it off, because every time I do these free online talks, literally it blows up my servers. So we limit how many people can come. Last time we had 10,000 people try to get on and it crashed the site. So I'm gonna limit how many people. So click the link, it'll show you if there's any spots available. And yeah, but the takeaway, even if you don't make it to my talk, is that don't buy into the lie you gotta spend 10 or 20 years doing the wrong thing until you can find the right thing. Don't buy into the lie that just because there's not a traditional status to what you want to do, that there's no opportunity. There's opportunity in lots of things. As long as there's demand, and there's 7 billion people on the planet, there's probably demand, unless it's some weird thing you want to do, like, you know, underwater basket weaving. But assuming you have a somewhat rational, interesting career choice, you'll be fine, you know, even if you make a little bit less money. So yeah, anyway, click the link. You can also subscribe here. I do talks like this, and so yeah, I hope to see you on my talk. That's a live talk where you can ask questions live and stuff. So everyone always has lots of questions on this subject. So figure out your destiny. All right. Leave me a comment here below if you have any questions. I can't always answer, but I'll try. All right. Talk to you soon.
The US Congress and presidential elections. Voting. The people's chance to decide who they want to run their country and represent their interests. But how does it work in the United States of America? Across the pond, voting is quite different. Like the UK Parliament, the United States Congress has two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Unlike the UK, there are public elections for both houses, and a third separate election is held to choose a president. In the US, the president is both the head of state and the head of government. In the UK, these roles are carried out separately by the monarch and the Prime Minister. The House of Representatives in the US Congress is designed to give a voice to the people of every local voting region of America. Members of the House of Representatives stand for re-election every 2 years. Each state is split into districts, and each district votes for one representative. The number of districts depends on the population of each state. For example, California, the most populous state, is split into 53 districts, so has 53 representatives. But Alaska, which is huge but has a really small population, only has one district and therefore only one representative in the House. Like the UK House of Commons, the election system is first past the post, so the candidate with the most votes in each district wins a seat in the House of Representatives. The party that wins a majority of seats in the House takes control. The ideal situation for a president is that the House is controlled by their own party. However, with elections held every 2 years, there's always a midterm election in the middle of a president's time in office. If the public thinks that the president's not doing a great job, they can vote in more members of the opposition party, making it more difficult for the president to pass laws. The Senate in the US Congress, like the House of Lords in the UK Parliament, is sometimes called the upper house. George Washington described the Senate as the saucer that cools the coffee, meaning that it's their job to scrutinise and question all proposals made by both the House of Representatives and the President, before voting to decide whether they should proceed as law. Senators, like members of the House of Representatives, are also elected to their seats by the public. Senators serve 6-year terms, and elections are staggered, so every 2 years, a third of the senators run for re-election. Each state is represented by 2 senators, regardless of its population. And again, the first past the post voting system is used, so the candidate with the most votes wins. So how do Americans choose their leader? Well, presidential elections take place every 4 years. The two main parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, host big get-togethers where they choose their presidential candidate, the person they think will be the best leader for the nation. The winning candidate then chooses their vice presidential candidate, also known as their running mate, to help support the campaign. Presidential candidates usually choose someone with different areas of skill or knowledge, so they present voters with the best package. Together, they're known as a ticket. Presidential candidates from both parties then start out on massive election campaigns to gain as much voter support as possible. They travel across the country and hold great big campaign rallies where they set out their policies and their ideas for the whole country. These campaigns cost money, lots of it. So both candidates have large campaign teams who help raise the tens of millions of dollars needed to keep them afloat. When it comes to election day, the public go to the polls to vote for one presidential ticket. So far, so easy. However, the public don't vote directly for their choice of president. Instead, a system called the Electoral College is used. Each state is allocated a number of electors that will make the final choice. A state has the same number of electors as it does senators and representatives. In most states, all the electors will vote for the presidential ticket which received the most support in the public vote. Finally, the presidential ticket with the most electoral college votes becomes president and vice president of the United States of America. So that's how things work in the US. A democracy like the UK, but on a much larger scale.
I find smoke detectors a marvel of engineering. Let me show you how it works. This black cylinder has louvers which guide air into the detector. Now it hides the essential part of the device. Tucked in here lies about 1 microcurie of radioactive americium-241. That's about 0.29 micrograms. That tiny bit of radioactive material generates a small current that makes the detector work. Let me explain how. Air flows between these two electrodes. Now, of course, air doesn't conduct electricity, but when alpha particles from the radioactive americium slam into the oxygen and nitrogen molecules that make up air, they knock electrons about, leaving charged gas molecules. The 9-volt battery causes these ions to move, thus creating a current. Now, here it's tiny, something like 100 picoamps, about 100 billionth the current flowing in your home. When smoke enters the chamber, the ions attach to it and slow down and often lose their charge. Both events cause the current to stop, which triggers the alarm. Now, to make such a compact thing work with only a 9-volt battery required the solid-state revolution of the 1960s. Let me show you. If I remove the two electrodes, you can see a small integrated circuit. It incorporates a marvelous device called a MOSFET, which can detect those very small changes in current. In the detector, it serves as an on-off switch triggered by the tiny current between the electrodes. Like every transistor, its operation depends on being able to make diodes from semiconductors. Recall that a diode allows current to pass in only one direction because it uses two types of semiconductors, a type that uses negative charge carriers and one that uses positive charge carriers. Flip that battery and the flow of charge stops. Now, to build a MOSFET, we take two such diodes and put them together so that each is reversed. Now, this seems useless because no current will ever flow through such an arrangement, but engineers embed this diode sandwich into the same type of semiconductor as the diode ends that touch. Then they place metal contacts at the ends of the diodes and on the block of semiconducting material. Next, they coat the diodes with a thin layer of silicon dioxide. Unlike metals or semiconductors, this doesn't conduct electricity at all. On that, they place one more metal contact called the gate, which opens or closes the current channel between the source and the drain. When we create a voltage difference between the gate and the source, it generates a field through the insulating layer that draws the free positive charge carriers toward the gate, opening a channel that now allows current to flow. In a circuit, we use the 9-volt battery to generate a potential difference between the source and the gate. It biases the gate so that the current flows through the MOSFET, thus turning on the horn. So we counter that with a current flowing from the detector. Here is where the ionized gas creates the tiny current between the two electrodes I showed you earlier. That current passes through a large resistor and creates a voltage that opposes the battery, and it shuts down current flow through the MOSFET. If smoke enters the chamber, the tiny current stops, the MOSFET allows current to flow in this section of the circuit, which triggers the horn. Now, to me, this is engineering at its best. Simple, reliable, and inexpensive, and saving countless lives. I'm Bill Hammack, the Engineer Guy.
Hi, this is part 2 of how to deal with difficult people. This part I decided to talk about cunning, deceitful manipulators, or what I like to call CDMs. First of all, I have to be clear on the fact that I'm not a psychologist. I am a business consultant with experience working around difficult people. I made up the term cunning, deceitful manipulator. I don't think it's out there in literature, and I called it CDMs for short. It might not be the correct scientific description for the difficult personality I'm talking about, but I tried to use the words that might best describe this person. Now, my purpose is to share my experiences dealing with this type of people and the people who exhibit similar behavior. Here I will try to define what I mean by cunning, deceitful manipulators, or CDMs for short. Also, it's very important to recognize their effect on others, and I will go over some tips on how to deal with them. First of all, I have to say that CDMs are very hard to catch. They are, from the term, they are cunning, they use trickery, they are deceitful, they are underhanded, they try to actually hide their intentions, and they are very manipulating. They know how to play with your emotions. That makes them very hard to catch. Now, the best way to catch them is by knowing how you feel around them. So you have to be aware of how you feel. Usually, and again, we have to talk about people who do this consistently. Usually they make you feel discomfort around them. They put you down. You might feel hurt. Or you might find yourself thinking a lot about what they said for a long time, or finding out that what they said actually hurt you, even though you did not feel as such during the discussion or conversation. Their behavior is recurrent. They make you do things for them. They only appreciate you when you do what they want. And they are moody about you. One day you are the best person there is, and the other day they cannot believe such a human being exists. Things they usually do, they pretend to be on your side while working against you. They work against you behind your back, subliminally, and unfortunately they do that when they find you most vulnerable. They don't hurt you directly. They hurt you subliminally, as I said, and they do that to serve their purpose. One way to know them is they become very aggressive when they are confronted, on when they are told they are wrong, on where they feel they're going to lose to you, or when they feel you are winning an argument. They become very aggressive. You can also tell this type of manipulators by the words they use and how they manipulate you. They usually go and try to look really innocent and easygoing by saying, I'm not trying to put you down, but you really are. And then they say something hurtful or negative. They always start by putting you at ease, like, we're not trying to hurt you. We really like you, but you are so and so. And sometimes when you actually face them and confront them with what they do, they are going to use things like, it's your fault, it's because of what you did I'm acting this way. They even try to have you pity them by saying, I hate myself because of how you make me feel, or how you behave with me, or because you're not giving me so and so. Watch for any subtle statements or sarcasm that try to put you down. Now, these people are most dangerous when they are in constant contact with you, when they are a husband or a wife or a boss or a co-worker or a close friend. Now, my advice to you, if you know someone like this, if you can, please stay away from this kind of personality, because really they can do some serious psychological damage. But again, we have to be realistic and know sometimes we cannot run away from this kind of person. Now, these people, it's amazing how many people fit this description, and you might also start thinking about some of the people that made you feel hurt or uncomfortable, well, you were not sure why. These people are extremely smart. They are, if they are in business, usually they are in a leadership position, believe it or not, and because they know how to manipulate, they know how to deceive, they use deceit, manipulation, trickery to actually get where they need in the organization. See, most people most people will actually have values, and they're not going to trespass on these values just to get a personal gain. Not this type of personality. He will do, or she will do, anything in their power, whether ethical or unethical, to get what they want. These people are at work and also in personal life. Now, how do we deal with the cunning, deceitful, manipulating people? First of all, we need to have the right attitude. We have to know that they are some of the toughest personalities to deal with. Remember that it's not your fault how they are behaving, or a reaction to something bad you've done, even if they try to convince you that it is. Another important point, you can never win fair and square against one of them. So don't even try. Remember, they don't play fair. Instead, what you need is to maneuver around them and outsmart them. Remember to never get absorbed by their drama, no matter how good an actor they are. Don't let them define the stage for the fight. Sometimes they try. They're really cunning and preparing and organizing, and they try to set up the fight in a way that will favor them. And finally, never trust anything they say to you, no matter how sincere they try to look. These people are sick, and I don't mean it in a demeaning way. Also, you have to have the right preparation. Now, to prepare to deal with these people, you need to learn about their tactics. What are their ways? How do they act around you? Try to expose them, learn about them, learn about what they really are. Another thing I advise you to do is to have around you a social support network of people who support you, who are positive around you. This will help tremendously remove the effects of someone who is cunning, deceitful manipulator. If you can, please seek help from a supervisor, from someone at home, from someone with authority, uh, someone who can help you and guide you, from a friend, from a doctor. Seek help where possible. It is okay to seek help. Does not mean that you are weak. Do lots of activities that boost your morale, like sports. Sports are excellent to help you feel good about yourself. Try to actually have disciplines and routines that help you build confidence in yourself. Remember, if you fall to their tactics, that does not mean you're bad or you're weak. Just get up, try to feel better, learn from the scenario, and try to find smart ways to deal with this hurtful situation if you are faced with it again. Most people fall into the traps of such personalities. I need you to think about the right actions. The right actions to take is, first of all, set the rules of engagement. When you absolutely have to deal with such a person, make sure that you set the rules of engagement in your favor, right? In a way that you will not get hurt. Don't let them drag you into their manipulation. Point out their inappropriate behavior. If they do something that doesn't make you feel comfortable, point it out and bring it up. Okay? Insist that they stop doing that. Okay? If they don't stop, walk out. No need to fight. You cannot win against these people. Refuse to engage them. Refuse to tolerate their behavior. Tell them exactly what you want them or do not want them to do. Here are some practical tips. Remember that can be outsmarted. Most of them are spoiled kids inside. Speak to their sick mind. Show them what is in it for them from what you are proposing. This works all the time. Prepare well before any engagement with them. Don't just walk in, right? Minimize the engagement as much as possible. Give them what they want for a return of what you want. Don't give them things for free. Never excuse their actions, no matter why they are doing what they're doing. Don't excuse their actions. Even if what they say is true about you, know that it is irrelevant. They are trying to put you down. They are trying to manipulate you. They are not hurt by what you do. Stop feeling guilty. They pretend to be hurt, so you feel guilty and they control you. You will see lots of these people at work. Now, most people hopefully do not fit this description, but some do. Now, when you are confronted and having to deal with people like these cunning, deceitful manipulators, you have to trust your gut feeling. Sometimes we doubt ourselves that maybe we are doing something wrong, because they are really good at manipulating us. So you have to protect yourself. You have to have your own strategy on how to deal with these people. Don't be naive. As I said, while most people are good at heart, this type is not good at heart. Remember that not everybody will see their deceit. See, this is part of the confusion they try to create around you. So you would doubt yourself. They might not use their trickery and deceitful ways around everybody at the same time. Sometimes you feel like they choose their victims carefully. And do not assume you can change them. No one can. According to some of the books I looked at, even psychologists end up falling in their traps once in a while. One way we can all help is to share our experiences with such people. Most people deal with cunning, deceitful manipulators on a daily basis, and it is not easy. If we share our experiences together here, maybe we can help each other with ideas, tips, things that you've tried and worked, things that did not work. This is a major problem. Even if you have one person at work who fits these descriptions, they might turn the workplace into a very difficult, uncomfortable environment. Same thing at home. If you have somebody like this at home, they can easily turn the whole environment into a very toxic, unhealthy environment. The world today, unfortunately, is producing these types maybe more than ever because of the corruption that is around us. We all know about the financial situation in the world, and also because of the I mentality. Everything is about me. I have to win, and I don't care if anybody else loses. I read a couple of books that talk about personalities that seem so close to what I'm talking about here. One of them is by Dr. George K. Simon. It was actually an eye opener for me. The book is called In Sheep's Clothing, and he talks about a personality that is called covert aggressive person. Also, I read a book by Wendy Bihari about the narcissist called Disarming the Narcissist. Also seems like a very similar personality. And I'm talking here mainly, I'm not trying to interpret what are in these books, but I'm talking here mainly from my personal experience and what I have learned from these books and from dealing with people who actually exhibit such behavior. One final word of caution: if they are confronted, the cunning, deceitful manipulators will fight you all the way and never admit it. So don't waste your breath on that. Okay, you will become the enemy, and when you become the enemy, you will be further put under the scrutiny and further put under their tyranny and under their deceitful ways. They will always find 100 excuses not to believe you or even to make you doubt yourself by saying this is a psychology waste of time. What do these people know? It's not me who has this problem. You have a bigger problem, which is so and so, etc. Final word of advice: I feel that prayer and asking God for help always helps build confidence and helps you get over hurdles like this. Thank you and good luck.
Light is a form of electromagnetic radiation. At some wavelengths, it appears as visible light. At others, it takes the form of radiation we cannot see, such as ultraviolet, infrared, and X-rays. X-rays have very short wavelengths that, unlike visible light, are able to pass right through most tissues in the human body. Since bones contain calcium, a denser material than most other tissues, they are able to stop some of the X-rays and can thus form a shadow. If you place your hand in front of a flashlight, it will cast a shadow on the wall behind it. In a similar manner, X-rays directed at the body produce shadows on the opposite side that can be registered on film or on a digital sensor, so that bones are clearly visible while soft tissues, such as muscle, are shadowy. As a result, the two-dimensional images formed by the X-rays are quite useful in revealing structures within the body and can easily display fractures in bones.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to download free movies on your computer. It's obviously free and it's so easy. And you have to pay or anything. So right, so you're going to need one program, and that's uTorrent, completely free. So just go to Google, type in uTorrent, just like that. And then it's this one here, uTorrent, a very tiny bit torrent client. And then uTorrent, yep, who cares? Just click on it and then it will come to this page. And let's click on this free download here. I guess you could click on that one, but I always click on that one anyway. Well, click on any of these, do any Mimo or something, I don't really care. But once you've downloaded it, once you've gone through the download wizard and all that, it will look like that. But I've already got one film, and that's Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. So yeah. Right. So once you've got uTorrent on your computer, you can go to www.piratebay.org. Okay. And then it will come to a page like this. and then you can search anything. Make sure this box all is ticked. If you just tick one particular, you won't get as much results. Okay, so you just pick a download. Think of a film you want to download. Go download. Think. Let's just do the Pirates of the Caribbean again. Why did I say the Pirates of the Caribbean? That's weird. The reason why I'm doing this again is because I know because I know which one to do. 2 seconds. There's a blimmin' moth on my wall. I'm trying to kill it. Son of a bitch, I'm going to kill you. Where have you gone? Where have you gone? You run away from me. Well, can't see him anywhere. He's gone. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. Maybe jump like this. Right. So, the ones with the purple skulls are always the most healthy. Torrents. So try and go for ones with these. As you can see, it says trusted. So I'm just going to click on this one, and you can see the quality in this little bracket bit here, and that's 0 quality, which is pretty much terrible. 1, like if the number 1's in that bracket, then that's okay quality. It's like standard download quality. And if you get number 2, which this one is, then that's like nearly DVD quality, nearly. That's really good. But they're quite hard to find. I've never seen a 3. I bet you can get them. So I don't want that one because it's a 0. This one's got a purple thingy. Oh wow, +1. See, that's quite good. It tells you loads of information about the download. And this is +1 quality, and that's pretty good. So this is the one that I'll download. Don't click on this big download button here. That's what a lot of people get fooled with. You need to click on the little link below. Download this torrent. So just click on that, and then just open it, and uTorrent should automatically open, and should start downloading after you've clicked OK on this. Oh, I don't need to see that. And as you can see, it's Pirates of the Caribbean Stranger Tides downloading. It's already started. This tells you how healthy it is. If you get 2 or 3 bars, that's pretty healthy. So at the moment, it's going to take 43 weeks and 0 days to download. But like, don't be fooled by that. It just once you give it about 3 minutes, it'll knock it down to at least 2 hours. But like normally, I mean, the longest download I've ever done is 4 hours. I think that was Avatar, which is 3 hours and long. But like average size films like Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that, it'll take around 45 minutes. And just entertain yourself while this 45 minutes are loading. Time flies by, and you can watch a film faster than ever. So, well, it was 43 weeks like 30 seconds ago. Now it's 1 day and 6 hours, and that will just keep going down. And as you can see, look at the health on this. It's amazing health. As you can see, it says instead of 1 day, it's 17 hours now. It's just going to keep going down and down and down. And well, now it's 10 hours. I'll just keep going down, and you'll have your download quicker than you thought. So this has been how to download free films. Oh, she's dirt. Anyway, this has been how to download free films on your computer. So I hope I helped. only subscribe if I helped you. Only subscribe. I'm not gonna be like most people on YouTube, like, oh, please subscribe, please, please, please. But I'm not that desperate. I'm just saying, I mean, what's the point of subscribing to someone if you didn't really like the video? So only subscribe to me if you like the video. So thanks for watching.